Hello, everyone. My name is Emil. I'm with Reset Consulting, and today we're going to be going over dashboards. So how to personalize your dashboard, how to configure dashboard, how to move portlets around on your dashboard and get access to the data that you need to see on an everyday basis. So without further ado, let me share my screen, and we're going to be in a demo environment today, and specifically going over dashboards. So you'll notice the first thing we see when we log in, and I'm in the administrator role, so I have access to everything and anything. You'll notice the first thing that we see when we log in is that I am in what is called my home dashboard. So my little home icon here is highlighted a darker blue than the rest of my center tabs. And I am able to configure what is called my home dashboard. The home dashboard is typically the one that is the most relevant, right? And that most clients typically configure, again, to see the information that they need to see on a daily basis. You'll also have the ability on each of these tabs here to configure and personalize your dashboards as well. So, it is an interesting area. Each of these centers, if you click on them, except for the analytics workbooks, each of these tabs will give you the ability to customize. So you could have, 4 or 5 different dashboards if you wish. But the home dashboard is typically the one that is the most relevant and where we'll spend the majority of our time today. So the first thing that you'll notice is my, let's go ahead and move this reminders up in the top left, because that is typically where that one is positioned. And you'll notice that across your whole dashboards, right, anytime you want to move these portlets around and where your mouse changes here to these little dragging icon, right, is NetSuite's going to give you the ability to drag and drop each of these portlets. Something else to keep in mind is hovering over these 3 dots will give you the setup, which is really where you're able to configure, change the views on each one of your portlets. So for example, I'm on this reminders portlet here. I'm able to pop this open and drag and drop right from the left over into my current selections, which is really the ones that are showing here. The ones with the green arrows are native or out of the box reminders. The ones with this C stands for custom, and that is based on a custom built saved search, either from a suite bundle or even a saved search that a user has created. So real simple on this reminders one, and I'm going over this one because it is probably one of the more useful portlets, right? It allows you to progress through a workflow. So I'm able to drag here some of these from the left to the right, just like this, and this one. And upon save, right, you'll see that this updates. And so you have really the header section of your reminders and the rest of them. The high level way that you would go about configuring how your dashboard looks. So you have a couple different options up here in the top right. This layout section is interesting. It just gives you the ability to change the way your portlets are, or where your portlets are shown. So you can go left to right with a smaller column on the right. You can do one center column with two on the left. I typically stick to the standard one here, which gives you a smaller column width on the left. This personalized button is where you would be able to add additional portlets. And so all of these done here, and you have 3 subtabs you'll see here. The first one is our standard content. And so you're able to really just drag and drop any of these here that you see from the top to your bottom on your dashboard. So all of these, right, analytics, quick search, quick add. You can add in a RSS feed, which is pretty cool. If you want to drag in, for example, news information from a news outlet, or you got a client that pulled in commodity stock prices or commodity prices just in general, they wanted to see specifically as prices change throughout the day. So that's a pretty cool one. Report snapshots. KPI meters, custom searches. We talked about that one. So all of these you can just drag and drop. Trend graphs. I'm just clicking on a few here just to show you. So we'll just add a few and then we'll configure them. So you'll notice that when I click on them, right, they're not quite set up yet. That's because it wants us to set up the specific portlet. So if I click the setup button for a trend graph, what you can do, right, is select the different KPI here. So these trend graphs are based on KPIs. Let's see if that one loads. There we go. And so we have some data here. You'll notice this is just an over time graph. And you have the ability here to change how that is viewed. So pretty good, from a visual perspective, what you might want to see. In this specific one, you've got a moving average and your orders in dollars. So fairly simple. So personalize, right? Drag and drop the suite apps. If you want to add and you've installed suite apps that come with a portlet, those will appear here. And then currently used. This is just going to show you all of the different portlets and portlet types that are currently on your dashboard. So I'll go ahead and close this out. I'll scroll down. I want to show you one more thing. So down here in your settings, notice this settings portlet is the only one that you cannot remove, right? All the other ones have these little 3 dots with the remove. If I didn't want to see this one, could easily squash it there. My settings one is the only one I cannot remove, and that is completely on purpose. There's a lot of important settings here that you will definitely want to keep track of. These settings that you see here are going to be entirely dependent on your role and your access. Again, right now I'm in the administrator role, so I'm seeing everything that an administrator might want to see. This is just going to take you to a couple different pages. This published dashboard feature is fairly important. You want to 100% limit who has access to this feature or tool set. What this is going to do is it's going to allow someone with this published dashboard permission, which is given on a per role basis, the ability to potentially override someone else's dashboard. So you want to keep a tight lock on who has access to this permission, just because if someone's worked really hard on their dashboard and they log in one day and they see that their dashboard is erased or it was overridden by someone else's dashboard, they might get quite upset. So this just this permission and this page here just allows you to choose to which role you might want to push this dashboard to once you've configured it. So during implementation, as we go through your go live and we get closer to go live, this is important, right? As you configure the dashboard for each role and then push that dashboard to anyone who might log in to that specific role. All right, let me go back here. So, on some other settings like 2FA, you can change your password, change your email here. This will just take you to those different pages. But really only portlet that you cannot remove. Let me go ahead and scroll back up here. And so a couple of other portlets, right? So custom content, there's a couple nice custom portlets here. So this subsidiary navigator, you'll see when it loads is fairly nice. So once you've set up, right, in the preliminary stages of your implementation, or you're already live and you might want to take a look at this portlet, this subsidiary navigator is going to give you a wide view of all of your operating subsidiaries and the hierarchy, which is nice, right? And so you can see here all these bottom level subsidiaries and the parent subsidiary. So all Canada, United States 2, and the elimination subsidiary all roll up to your Americas subsidiary. All of this row rolls up to your parent subsidiary. Something else that is nice. So again, I'm in the administrator role, so I have access to each of the subsidiary. I have the ability to press and click on any of these subsidiaries or smaller tiles within the portlet, and you'll notice my dashboard actually is still updating. And that's because it's essentially narrowing down the data that you're seeing specific to that subsidiary. And so you can do United States. Let me change to Canada as an example. And you'll see now the dashboard, this portlet is updating to data only within that selected subsidiary. So at a glance, right, this is nice if you want to look at a specific subsidiary, data only for that, that entity. So pretty nice setting there. Navigation shortcut group is really just giving you, access to by different roles or what a specific person might do. It's really just shortcuts. So groups of shortcuts, which is a bit different from these shortcuts where you can individually set them up. So how you add to this shortcut, right? You can either go set up here. This is actually going to give you the ability to drag and drop top to bottom. You can do new shortcuts, going to pop up with a URL, or you can do through this star, right? So let's say I'm in the write checks page and I want to be able to add, because I'm writing checks all day, and I want to be able to add a shortcut to be able to get there quicker because I'm terrible at memorizing menu path. So once this loads, you're also able to add, so if you just go to here, add shortcuts, the URL will already be kind of preloaded in the background, and you can say, write checks shortcut. And I typically like to have it open in a new window. That's up to you. So I can add that here. And then once I refresh my shortcuts, actually it's already here. So write check shortcut, and it's going to open a new window, same page that we were just on. So pretty nice. Or if you're navigating through NetSuite, right, your shortcuts will always appear in this little star, which is nice. This little clock here is what's called your recent records menu. So as you move through NetSuite, and keep in mind this is specific to that role. So if you're in multiple roles, it's not per user, it's per user and per role. So it's keeping track of all the records that you've looked at recently. All right, and you're able to view those and get to them quicker. So let's keep going. So NetSuite login audit log is fairly useful. It basically just gives you who logged in, when, what role, what browser, IP address if we care. Recent records, I'm actually going to remove this because I already have it up here. Jobs, I'm going to actually remove that one because I want to get to my KPI scorecard. So this KPI scorecard, and let me actually change my subsidiary here. And I'll just choose the parent here, which is really going to select everything and give me more data. Before we get to the KPI scorecard, the last little setting up here is your portlet date settings. So this gives you the ability to really change anytime a portlet is looking at a date range, right? Comparing two date ranges. This gives you the ability in really one click to update all of your portlets to look at your specific selection. So let me go back to my KPI, and you'll see it's updating a little bit now with a bit more data, which is good. So there's kind of two KPI portlets. There's going to be your KPI scorecard and then just your KPIs. Your scorecard is going to give you it kind of groups up your different KPIs that you might want to see. So SaaS metrics, you can do sales, and you'll notice that this should update with additional data. And then on the edit, you actually have the option right here to either choose a specific KPI. So here, right, you'll see number 1, 2, 3, and you can actually directly type in a formula here if you want it to be like this. Here's your date ranges. And then you can actually plug in here your custom KPIs. So pretty nice here to be able to edit your KPI scorecard. So let me change it to one with more data. So essentially just groups up your different. So let me actually do financials. You should see more rows. So fairly standard financial KPIs here. You'll see these little kind of mini portlets or summaries here, which is nice. You get a bit of a bigger numbers here. You can always export these. That's something on a lot of these. You can export. So this is a graph trend. You can export. You can also download it as specific images if you'd like, or PDF documents so that you can extract and share. So there's your KPI scorecards here. Again, these scorecards should already be pre-built for the most part. And there are also, go to personalize. So there's KPI meters. That in there. And then there's key performance indicators. So KPI meters is really just going to give you a visual representation of your snapshot. So nothing showing up here. Let me go back to my where are you? Key performance indicators right here. And so if I go to setup here, you'll notice that this is a bit more customized, gives you on a per row basis. You can either add standard KPIs, right? A lot of these we've already seen. So you can, from left to right, select a lot of KPIs, or typically what is more useful is adding custom KPIs. So these are safe searches. You can, it says up here, choose up to 10 custom KPIs. So you can actually configure a safe search ahead of time and plug that in directly into your key performance indicators. So this is helpful if you're using, for example, statistical accounts, or you want to see a specific formula derived, right, that's specific to your industry. This is very nice to be able to configure a safe search in the background and have it update in the background, as well as plugging that one into your key performance indicators. So some of these up here definitely look like some three-way match here. This is from a bundle. So I'll just plug these in, right? And you'll see that my key performance indicators list has grown. You can choose, highlight, for example, if your income is greater than a specific number threshold, you want to be able to headline it. Here's your compare range. So on a per row basis, you actually get your comparative data range on a per date basis. So once I update this, you'll see now it's loading. We'll see our key performance indicators update. So this is extremely powerful, especially on creating your custom KPIs, right? So working with your consultants to establish what those specific metrics should be, configuring your safe search, and then adding it to your dashboard. So you'll see, right, a lot of these didn't make a whole lot of sense. So typically you wouldn't have your three-way match safe search probably on your dashboard as a KPI, but for the sake of the example, right, we're adding safe searches to your key performance indicator portlet. All right, that's it for today's overview of dashboards. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need help configuring or creating a specific dashboard for yourself or someone on your team. At Reset Consulting, we're happy to help. Thanks, everyone.